Hi everyone, we are continuing to move on, continuing to miss you, continuing to miss being at school, but here we are. We are going to talk about organ transplants today. So organ transplants are a really complex topic, but they're really cool to talk about. And something you might have heard about is with an organ transplant, there's something called rejection. So doctors are very careful to make sure that when they transplant an organ, that the person who's getting the new organ is not going to reject it. A rejection reaction is really similar to allergies, which we just learned about. Basically, what happens is the person's immune system overreacts to something, thinks it's dangerous, thinks the new organ is dangerous, and starts to attack it, which obviously would be very, very bad if you need that new organ. And so we're going to move on learning about organ transplants today. This lesson is a lesson I used to teach in New York, and it has an activity that goes with it that involves having cards that I would have had to print out. So obviously we can't do that. But if you really do want to do it, I can email you a picture of the cards, and you can either just do it from that, or if you have access to a printer, you can print it. So if you do want to do the full activity, just text me and I can help you do that. I'm going to share my screen with you so we can be looking at the same page. So organ transplants. We have a PDN here. It's 2 questions, and so I want you to make sure that you are completing that before moving on. So hit pause on me, complete your PDN, and hit play when you are ready to go. If you're listening to me, it means you've done your PDN. So number 1 for allergies, remember it's your immune system attacks a harmless substance as if it is something harmful. That is like the main gist of what an allergy is. You could have used words like antibodies and so on, but as long as you have that your immune system attempts to fight off or attack something harmless, then you've got it. This number 2 I sort of just talked about already, but if this is up to you if you've heard of organ transplants, what you know about them, and so I'm excited to read your answers when I get your packet. Please scroll down. All right, what is an organ transplant? So this is an article I found that basically is explaining organ transplants to kids. So this is made for kids who maybe have to have one or know someone having one, and so this is a pretty easy to understand article, and we'll go through it together. What is an organ? Please follow along. Much like a machine, our bodies are made up of lots of working parts. For humans, these working parts are called organs. All of our organs work together in our body, but each organ also has a specific job, such as pumping or cleaning our blood or helping us breathe. What do the organs do? So here's a couple main organs that you might have heard for transplants. We'll look at that. Lungs. Our 2 lungs help us to breathe. Heart. Our heart pumps blood through our bodies. Kidneys. Our 2 kidneys help to clean our bodies of waste. They also make urine. Liver. Our liver helps to break down the food we eat. Pancreas. Our pancreas helps our bodies to digest food. Intestine. Our intestine turns food and liquid into fuel for our bodies. What is an organ transplant? Sometimes our organs don't work properly. This can be because of an illness or just something the person was born. When this happens, doctors will decide if they can replace the organ with a healthy one from someone else. So you have 2 questions here. What are organs and what is an organ transplant? Please go ahead and hit pause on me, answer the questions, and hit play when you're ready to move on. If you're hearing me talk, it means you have answered the questions. I'm not going to go over them with you, but I'll see your answers when you turn it in. Scroll to the next page. What are some of the different kinds of organ transplants? Lungs, heart, kidneys, liver, pancreas, and intestine. Where do the organs come from? Organs can come from a living person or someone who has died. A living donor is someone who wants to help by giving all or part of a healthy organ. A living donor can donate 1 kidney or a part of the liver. Sometimes someone who has died can also share their organs. In this case, the person and/or the person's family generously agree to donate the organs to help someone else live. How does the new organ get inside a person? The person will need to have an operation in the hospital. After the operation, the person might have a scar from where the doctors took out the organ that didn't work and put in the new one. This will be sore for a while, but it will heal. What happens after someone receives an organ transplant? After the transplant, it will take some time to heal, and the person may have to stay in the hospital. The person will also have to take medicine every day to keep healthy and may get sick more than you do or visit their doctor often. But in most cases, once they're feeling better, a person can do everything that you can do. All right, answer the question by hitting pause on me and then hit play when you're ready to move on. Go. Okay, I'll see when you turn in your packet that you've answered this question. Let's read the Stamp the Understanding together. Sometimes a person's organ does not work properly and needs to be replaced. Doctors transplant a new organ from a living or recently deceased donor. Scroll down. All right, this is the activity that, like, we're not going to do the full thing, but we can do the background of it and learn a lot from it. So, doctor, find a kidney donor. The case. You have 6 patients who each need kidney transplants. You have 12 kidney donors who have offered to donate their kidneys to people who need them. This type of living donor kidney donation is possible because a healthy person can live with only 1 kidney. In order to choose the right donor, you need to figure out which donor meets both of the following requirements. These are really, 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 really important. 1, the donor's blood type has to be compatible with the recipient's blood type. 2, the antigen on the donor's kidney tissue have to be the same as the antigens on the recipient's kidney tissue. So your task, match each kidney recipient to a compatible donor. Remember, a recipient means the person who needs a kidney, they're receiving it. The donor is the person giving the kidney. Step 1, background information. Every day, thousands of people receive kidney transplants from generous donors. Another spelling thing you watched me fix. I'm going to go back and start reading that again. Every day, thousands of people receive kidney transplants from generous donors. However, donating a kidney isn't as simple as agreeing to the procedure. The kidney donor, person giving their kidney to someone else, has to have a blood type that is compatible with the kidney recipient, person receiving the kidney. The donor recipient also must have matching antigens on their kidney tissue. All right, this question is super, super important. Please hit pause on me and answer it. Hint, look up at those first 2 bullet points that you're at the top if you're stuck. And we'll hit play back on me when you're ready to move on. Okay, you've answered the question on your own. The 2 things you should have written were these bullet points here. The blood type has to be the same and the antigens have to be the same. So we've learned antigens as being bad. So antigens on a pathogen are bad. But your organs have antigens. They're just like ID tags that make them yours. So the antigens on my kidney are going to be different from the antigens on your kidney and so on. But your antigens typically are going to be more similar to maybe a family member's or somebody else. That's how you figure out if somebody's a match, and that's why family members are commonly a match. But again, I could have antigens that are like very similar with some of you and not others. It just depends on your genes and a lot more complex things. All right, moving to the next page. Blood typing. Evaluate the compatibility of the donor's and patient's blood. A dangerous reaction may occur if incompatible blood types are mixed. Antigens on the surface of the donor red blood cells may cause the recipient, patient's immune system to produce antibodies against the donor's blood. When the patient's antibodies react with antigens on the donor's red blood cells, dangerous clumps form and block the patient's blood vessels. So this is a fancy way of saying that if the blood types don't match, the person receives, so if I needed to receive a kidney and I received it from someone with a different blood type, my immune system would get super confused and start attacking that new organ because it would think it was like something dangerous because it's not used to it. That would be very bad for me, and it would defeat the whole purpose of this transplant. I'm going back to the reading right here. There are 4 blood types, A, B, AB, and O. Below is a chart showing which blood types can donate to and receive blood from other blood types. So this chart's a little like tricky, and so I basically am going to have you make a whole new chart to help you understand it. So you're going to have, for example, blood type A can donate blood to and can receive blood from. By you basically taking one chart and putting it into your own, you're going to have a better understanding of it. And then you're going to answer 2 questions about blood type AB and about blood type O. This is the kind of thing that, like, am I going to test you on it? No, but it's really important to know. You'll see this come up a lot in TV shows, in books, in real life. I mean, this is just important to understand and know. So please hit pause on me, complete this work, and then hit play when you're ready to move on. Go ahead. Okay, if you are hitting play, that means you have already answered this and you're ready to move on. I'm not going to go through the whole table with you, but for number 2, why is blood type AB considered to be the universal recipient? So if you look up here at AB, where my cursor is, AB can receive blood from any of the blood types. So if you have blood type AB, it's easier to find a match for these things because you can receive any type of blood. Why is O the universal donor? Type O can give blood to any type. So any blood type can receive, if you can see up here, blood type O. So O is the universal donor. Unfortunately for O, they can only receive from O, which is why when there's waiting times and wait lists, people with blood type O typically have to wait the longest for a donor because they can only receive from blood type O. All right, we are going to move on to the next page. Matching tissue type, step 2. Tissue typing. Evaluate the match for donor and recipient antigens. Once you've identified a possible donor, further testing is necessary to determine whether the potential donor's tissues are a good match for the patient. If the antigen on the donor's kidney do not match the antigen on the patient's tissue, the patient's immune system may produce antibodies that attack the transplanted kidney and cause a rejection reaction. So again, similar to blood type, if I took a new kidney in with super different antigens from what my body is used to, my body would think they were bad antigens and start to attack it and start to attack that new organ and make me even more sick. We're going to keep reading the second paragraph. Human leukocyte antigens, HLA, are special proteins found on the surfaces of cells in the body that are very important for transplantation. There are many different antigens on the surfaces of cells, but the ones that seem to be the most important for transplantation are HLA antigen A, HLA antigen B, and HLA antigen DR. Each person has 2 specific forms of these 3 HLA antigens. Because HLA antigens can be recognized as foreign by another person's immune system, it is important that the donor has as many possible of the same HLA antigens as the patient. That way, there is less of a chance that the patient's body will reject the donated organ. Doctors use a method called HLA tissue typing to identify which HLA antigens are present on the surface of the leukocytes, white blood cells, of the patient and the potential donor. Each newly discovered HLA antigen has been numbered. Doctors aim for at least a 4 HLA match between a donor and patient. So there are 6 main antigens they're looking at. That was a lot of confusing words, but the main point is there are 6 main antigens they're looking at, and they want at least 4 to match. So you are going to answer questions 2 and 3 on your own by pausing me and hit play when you're ready to move on. Go ahead. Okay, if you've hit play, you've answered the question, you've picked the donor. I realize it says circle your answer. You obviously can't circle it, but you can just type your answer below. Now, I'm not going to go over this with you, but I'll be excited to see it when you turn it in. Please move on. All right, let's look at some basic notes here. I'm going to read it out loud to you while you follow along. When someone needs a new organ, they can have one transplanted from a donor. Every person has a specific blood type and has specific antigens, which are harmless, on their organs. Donor and recipient have to have the same blood type and similar antigens on the organ. If the antigens and blood type do not match, the recipient's immune system might think the new antigens on the new organ are harmful and begin to attack them. This is called organ rejection. So we have a check for understanding here and then some independent practice you can see and then your exit ticket. The main thing to know, and I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. The main thing to know is that we want to have as similar of a match when you donate an organ so the person's immune system doesn't get confused and attack it. Because if it's something really different, the immune system's going to do its job and attack it because it's going to think it's a harmful invader. This is also why, and hint, this is an exit ticket answer. This is an exit ticket answer. You should be listening. It's an exit ticket answer. Maybe write it down. This is why after getting, like people who are getting a new organ, take drugs that are called immunosuppressants, which means it suppresses the immune system, which means it basically lowers your immune system's ability to do its job, which sounds dangerous. Why would you give that to a sick person? But the point is they want the immune system to be a little bit like lower in its abilities so that when it gets the new organ, it's less likely to attack it. Because the whole reason an organ can get rejected is your immune system working too hard. So they want your immune system to not be able to work that hard to reject the new organ. Anyways, organ transplants are super complicated. You are, as an 8th grader, not going to be necessarily explaining organ transplants to other people, but now you can, which is really, really cool. So if you have questions, call or text me or join office hours. But continue to stay safe. I miss you all. Have a great rest of your day.